Well, hello, welcome to Will Cook Music Reviews. I'm Will Cook, and currently sitting in my kind of too chilly bedroom. It's pouring outside, and that window of mine doesn't seem to really hold back the cold air. I could put on a sweater, but I'm sporting my Taking Back Sunday shirt today. I can't cover that up. And I poured myself a nice cup of boiling hot water. No intentions of drinking it. You ever just hold on to a cup of hot water? It seeps right through your bones. Feels quite nice. I'm going to do another album roundup today. This is the conclusion of my October album roundups. I did a video on some good albums from October, some so-so, and now I'm going to talk about some not-so-good albums, some disappointments, some, dare I say, bad albums. And we'll kick it off with Hands Like Houses, the self-titled EP from this Australian rock band. Now, at this point in their career, several albums in, releasing a self-titled album, that generally means business. It's a turning point for the band, you could say. It looks like they're trying to maybe establish a new direction, and not the best direction, I think, is the opinion of many. Their first three albums were with Rise Records, generally a pretty rock-heavy label, and those albums were heavy. They were a clean post-hardcore sound. I've been a casual fan of the band, and I never got too into a lot of their deeper cuts. My favorites have been the singles I Am, Introduced Species, but I did love the sound. And then they went and signed to Hopeless Records for their last album, 2018's Anon. Another label I'm a huge fan of, just a bit more of a pop-punk roster to that one. And they did lose some of that original flavor. No more double kick in the music, lost a lot of the early aggression, and leaned more into this stadium rock sound. A little bit too straightforward, I'd say. Oh my god, I just spilled on myself. I think it's time to put this cup down. Where was I? A little too straightforward, but they did have the song Overthinking, which has gone down as one of my favorites from the band. A huge sing-along appeal to that one. And now we catch them with their newest EP, and I think it's safe to say that fans are not too stoked on the direction that they continue to head in here. Just check out the comments on the Dangerous video on YouTube. There is not much positive to be found. And I'm pretty sure they're not with Hopeless anymore. It looks like they're just signed to the Australian label UNFD. This is their cleanest stuff yet, even more clean than the stuff off of their last album. It has really taken on a much more basic form than their first three albums. You know, it's not awful, but it's just really not what you want to see from these guys if you're a fan of the stuff from their past. If it was a friend of mine who was like, hey, check out my band, I'd be like, hey man, that sounds like good stuff, but your Hands Like Houses, you can't just go from that quality post-hardcore sound from the early days and then put out this really just tame bleh. So yeah, compared to their early stuff, this is just really plain white bread. It feels like they're trying to take on a more accessible sound, but I really don't know who they're going to stand out to with this stuff. I'm gonna give it a light 4.5 hand houses out of 10. All right, moving on, we have Missio with Can You Feel the Sun? This Texas electronic pop duo. They came into my life back in 2017. The song Middle Fingers. I remember working this shit construction job, driving to work at about 5 in the morning, and it was on a new singles playlist of mine. And holy hell, that was just one of the greatest discoveries of the year for me. Middle Fingers in the air, a big F you to just all these systemic pressures. Such a big middle finger to all this shit in life, and it was an absolutely brilliantly fresh song. And that led me to their debut album, which I found out was actually not really my type of sound. They had this real, like, obnoxious, kind of big electronic pop sound that, for the most part, did not really speak to me, but it did hold the song I Don't Even Care About You, another one that was just absolutely massive and stuck with me throughout the year. Both Middle Fingers and I Don't Even Care About You made it onto my top 100 list. And then they came back again with their 2019 album, and another album full of stuff that I was not too interested in, but I pulled away from that album the song I See You, which went into my top 10 of last year. a softer side to their sound, much more emotion to it, and that's the type of Missio I want to hear. An incredible, incredible song. But yeah, outside of those songs, there was really nothing of much substance to be found for me in their music. And then we have this new album here, coming within 2 years of their last, and that's not too out of the normal these days, but really wish they kind of would have held off for something a bit better, because I'm not finding much substance at all on this. You do get some decent strength to the opening title track. I enjoy their more emotive side, and this one has a nice, gentle, soft, emotional approach to it, but there's just not really much edge to it, and I find it's not much more than a nice melody. And then on the other side of the coin, you got songs like Vagabond and Wolves, which are examples of exactly the kind of obnoxious noise that I just don't get any enjoyment from with these guys. And you get their sensitive side again with the slow burning Don't Forget to Open Your Eyes, but really just no excitement to this track, no gut-punching emotion either to back up the dragging pace. Songs like Losing My Mind, Hoodie Up, Crybaby, a bunch of meh for me. It's actually the last few songs of the album that hold some more hope. Roman Empire is easily my favorite. Just a driven as hell hook, that tight, snappy drum beat, big synths, really easy to get behind this one. And then the track We All Burn to the Ground, it has this kind of epic cinematic quality to it that I can appreciate. And the closing track, Daydreaming, you get the cute, catchy verses, and the playful chorus doesn't overdo it. They're both nothing too special, but compared to most of the stuff before them, they make for a pretty decent end to the album. I'm too nice with my music. I don't want to call this album terrible, but when it comes to Missio, I am pretty picky with my selection and with what I enjoy from these guys, and they really just didn't pull through much for me here. I'm gonna give the album a solid 4 Sunflower People out of 10. Alright, I'm sorry to anyone who's a fan of this Los Angeles alternative rock group, but I do not have much good to say about the latest EP from local natives, Sour Lemon. It's just because I have such high standards for these guys. They brought it on themselves, because I discovered them in 2013 with the album Hummingbird. I was still kind of breaking into the whole indie rock scene, kind of coming out of my high school years of emo, pop rock music, and I hadn't really delved into much of that indie rock kind of stuff over the years. And this album, my God, it goes down as easily one of the best albums of the 2010s, an incredible emotion to it, and it really is unlike any album I know. And I gotta say, it feels like that album was kind of just a one-off occurrence. I missed the hype of their first album, which I think I went back and scanned. The album with Sun Hands on it. I can't remember too much about it, and I never really did get caught up in the excitement of that, so I'll leave that one out of it. But there are 2 albums following I went into very, very eager and excited to see what could they do next, and I was left completely underwhelmed. Not terrible music by any means, but really just found it pretty unexceptional, and this new EP here is about as underwhelming as it gets. The songs just come off a little bit hollow to me in a way. You got the great vocals of Taylor and Kelsey, definitely the same guys from Hummingbird, and you can tell it's the same band. They just don't quite touch on the wonders of that earlier work. And you can appreciate the beautiful instrumentation, the gentle and sweet melodies, but really, these are the guys behind the godly Hummingbird, and they will always be living under that shadow for me. Like, I can have an alright time with these songs. Statues in the Garden has a decent summer melody. Lemon with Sharon Van Etten is soft and sweet, and I gotta say, Future Lover hits the spot pretty nicely. It gives me some Vampire Weekend vibes with the guitar, and a real nice sing-along aspect to that one. But really, it just comes down to the fact that I can't get over how much of that unique feeling is gone from their music since the Hummingbird days. I gotta give this a light 4 squeezed lemons out of 10. Alright, let's wrap it up with the self-titled debut album from this UK band called Prep. These guys have gotten a bit of attention over recent years with their pretty chill indie pop sound. They take a lot of jazz and R&B influence, both genres that I don't listen to much of, but here I am listening to them. I think I was recommended them last year, and I enjoyed the sound of their song. What was the big one? Something about Ticket, a Flight, Cheapest Flight. Yeah, apparently they've got a hip-hop producer, a classical composer, and a house DJ as part of the lineup, and it makes a lot of sense. Feels like all of those areas of music play into their sound. And I don't want to talk too much shit about their music, especially as a guy who's just not really into jazz and R&B. It's not terrible. It has a smooth and tasteful appeal to it, but I just don't find much variation to these songs. It feels like a pretty one-note album. Yeah, I can appreciate how they do a good job of bringing the pop melodies into the soft, jazzy atmosphere, and I can easily hum along to pretty much all of these songs, but still, they do lack that excitement for me. And then there's a few of these, like Wouldn't Want to Know, Carry, The Stream, Rain, I have no interest in. I'm gonna go with a solid 4.5 Sunsets in the City out of 10. And that wraps up my bad albums of October. Thanks for checking it out. I'd love a thumbs up if you enjoyed the reviews, and hit the subscribe. I've got more on the way. Gonna be moving into year-end list season soon, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to chat. I'll see you next time.